Some this morning have been scratching their heads at how the unemployment rate could fall to 4.6% when the participation rate only ticked down. What do you make of the various moving parts in this report and what it says about the economy at large?
Well, I think the fall in the participation rate is something we've had going on for a long time. It's mostly demographics. There's some effect of more people with felony convictions really falling out of the labor force. So we've had that going on for a while. But I think the really interesting thing is that we didn't get any wage growth, even though unemployment's so low. And I think what's going on is there's a big difference between the numbers and perception. People think that there's this army of unemployed people out there who are going to steal their jobs if they ask for a wage increase. But that's really a ghost army. They don't exist. And so at some stage, perceptions in the labor market are going to improve. And I think that could spark stronger wage growth next year.
But Steve just made the point, David, that we had strong wage growth in October, so maybe it was time for employers to take a little bit of a breather. And then you also have the JOLTS, the quit rate, that is at an all-time high, which you can't deny that is usually an optimistic sign for the U.S. employee.
Oh, yeah, no, I think things are definitely getting better, but the problem is that there's been this political perception that there are millions and millions of people out of work in America, and the labor market is a disaster, and it's the opposite of that. But I don't think people have really gotten to that point yet. So as people feel better about the economy, understand that there really aren't very many available employable workers out there, I do think we'll see stronger wage growth as we go into next year.
Yeah, I was just having an ongoing debate with one of our viewers, and I pointed him to NFIB's hard to fill component, but that's not the message that's out there right now.
No, but in finance, reality is reality. Perception isn't reality. So I think perceptions will change and evolve once we get past the political season to understanding just how tight this labor market is. And it's not all good. It's because there's the baby boom is retiring. There isn't very much natural growth to the labor force, but it does mean it's very tight.
Diane, this particular survey was taken just in the days after the election in November. How do you think the perception of the U.S. economy and the outlook of companies operating here to hire more workers has changed since then?
Well, we've seen sort of a divergence. I think one thing that's important, first of all, is on the wage data. Yes, we had a strong October. There was some unusual factors in the November number. A huge deceleration in wages in the utility sector. We've had an unusually mild season where people aren't using air conditioners in the hot areas and they're not using heaters in the warm areas of the country, and that suppressed wages in that sector quite dramatically, kind of an unusual quirk. We also saw a drop in manufacturing wages along with another drop in employment there. That is about to reverse, and so I think this is a real transitory issue. In terms of the perception versus reality, look at the difference between the overall unemployment rate and the U6. As Steve mentioned, it came down to 9.3, but it's still 1% higher, almost 1% higher than it was in August 2007, the last time we saw this low on the unemployment rate, and that gap really underscores the stress. What we're seeing is consumer confidence is up. They are feeling a little bit better. I think there was a relief after the election that it was a peaceful transition of power. On the company side, though, and that's where I'm spending most of my space with CEOs in the Fortune 100, Fortune 150, a lot more uncertainty about where policy is going forward and what kind of hostile environment they'll face, either both at home or abroad, whether it be taxes, penalties on how they do business. They're very uncertain about how the global economy is unfolding and policy in the U.S. as well.
Diane, I know in the November report, we do get some seasonality in the fact that there is usually an upswing in retail hiring. Are you seeing
exactly?
Are you seeing enough of that to tell you that retail is still going to be employing at the levels that it has been for the past few years?
We really are seeing the movement from bricks to clicks here. I mean, the decline in retail employment, as Steve laid out, showed the movement online. Thanksgiving was the first time ever that more consumers actually went online for the Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Cyber Monday sales than they actually went into stores. And I think that really, that foot traffic loss in the stores is having an impact. We already know there's going to be a lot of store closings announced for January and February. So this trend, secular trend in retail, does not reflect weakness in consumer spending. It reflects the shifts in how we spend, and that's a real restructuring in the retail sector that we're going to see play out over the next several months.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.